Hi everyone, welcome to today's GCSE Higher Revision video. There's 22 days to go into your first GCSE Maths exam, and today we're going to be doing a practice paper. So this is part 2. There's going to be 3 parts altogether. So I think part 1 was with 44 days to go, part 2 is with 22 days to go, and then as we get a bit closer there'll be part 3 as well. And in the description below you'll find a link to the practice paper. So if you go to that link and print it off, then you'll have a practice paper, that part 2 of the practice paper, which has lots of different questions on the topics we've covered in the 100 days to go videos. So print off that paper, have a go at it. If you need any hints on any particular questions in this video, as I just finished talking now, I'm going to go through and give you a hint on every single question. So if there's any particular questions that cause you a bit of difficulty, rather than wait until tomorrow, whenever I'm going to go through the full answers to the practice paper, you can get a bit of a hint. So if you go to the timestamps in the description of this video, you can just click the particular time and it'll bring you straight to that point of the video where I'm giving you a hint on a particular question. So perhaps question 17 might be causing you difficulty. So you can go down, click on the timestamp for question 17, and then I'll give you a bit of a hint on it as well. So today we're going to be doing practice papers, part 2 of the practice papers. So good luck.
So we're now going to look at part 2 of the practice questions for GCSE Higher. So we looked at part 1 with 44 days to go. We're now going to look at part 2. So let's get started in terms of the hints for each of the questions. So question number 1. So question number 1 is a parallel lines question, and we covered parallel lines and ratios with 100 days to go and 40 days to go. So we covered angles and parallel lines with 100 days to go, and we looked at ratio with 40 days to go. So we've got this diagram, and we're told that PQR is a straight line, so PQR is a straight line, and PSTU is a straight line, and we've got our two parallel lines here and here, and we're told some information, and we want to find the size of angle RPU, so RPU. So we want to find the size of this angle. Now if we have a look here, we've been told that angle PQS, so PQS is 50 degrees. Now thinking of angles and parallel lines, think if there's any other 50-degree angles on this diagram, and if there are, label them. And we're also told that angle RTS, so RTS, that's that angle, and angle RTU is that angle. These two angles are in the ratio of 3 to 2. So in other words, this is 3 parts and this is 2 parts. And remember, this is a straight line. So if you just share 180 degrees in the ratio of 3 to 2, you can find the size of this angle and the size of this angle. And once you've labelled on any other 50-degree angles, and once you find that angle, you should be able to find x. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 2. So question number 2 is on gradient, and we covered gradient with 64 days to go. So we've got a line that passes through these 2 points, and we know it's gradient. So in terms of this, remember to find the gradient of a line, you do rise over run. Now you might want to do a little sketch here, and you know the gradient's 3/4, so the line's going to be going up this way. So you can plot a point 1p, you could plot the point of 5,1, and then you could just do a little sketch and then sort of do rise over run and put it equal to 3/4, and hopefully you should be able to find p. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 3. So question number 3 is on angles and polygons, and we covered that with 99 days to go. And in this question, we've been asked to work out how many sides this regular polygon has. So if you want to find out how many sides this regular polygon has, what I'd probably want to do is find the size of one of the interior angles. So you've got a square, so you know what that angle is. And with a regular hexagon, well, you can find the size of that angle of the regular hexagon by considering what the angles in a regular hexagon add up to and dividing it by 6. And then you can use that and that to then find the size of this angle. And then once you find the size of that angle, then you can find the exterior angle, and then know that all the exterior angles will always add together to be 360 degrees. So then you can figure out how many exterior angles there are, so how many interior angles, and therefore how many sides that regular polygon has. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 4. And question number 4 is on scatter graphs, and we covered scatter graphs with 79 days to go. So we've got the scatter graph showing time spent revising, so we've got the number of hours spent revising and the test score. And we've been asked to explain why it's not sensible to use this scatter graph to estimate a test score of somebody who revised 15 hours. So if we have a look at it, this is how much time they spent revising for a test. Now, so some students spent up to 9 hours, some spent just 1 hour, and 15 hours, we don't have any information beyond 9 hours. It could be, if this is just in one evening, 15 hours is too much and that student's exhausted and their test score might be lower and so on. So their result is beyond the range of the data. So we just explained that. Okay, let's look at our next question. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 5. So question number 5 is a ratio question, and we covered ratio with 40 days to go. Okay, so we've got the situation where we've got bag A, it contains 5x coins, and bag B contains 3x coins, and 8 coins are taken out of bag B, so 8 coins are taken out of bag B, so think how many coins you'd have then in bag B if 8 of those coins are taken out, and they're put in bag A, so then they're put in bag A, so another 8 coins are put in bag A, so think how many coins you'd have in bag A altogether. So now think of how many you've got in B and A, and you're told that ratio of bag A A to bag B. So after you put the coins in there and take the coins out there, the ratio is now 11 to 5. And you've been asked to find the total number of coins. So if you know the ratio is 11 to 5, you could multiply the number of coins in bag B by 11, and that'll be equal to what we get whenever we multiply the number of coins in bag A by 5. And if you go back to this video, 40 days to go, I explain that, and then you have an equation, and you can solve that to find x, and then find the total number of coins. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 6. So question number 6 is on quadratic inequalities, and I really like these. So it's 34 days to go. That's when we done quadratic inequalities. In terms of this question, a bit of a hint, you want it to equal 0. So you'd want to get rid of this 42 here. So take 42 away from both sides. You'll then have the quadratic is less than 0, and then you just solve that as a standard quadratic inequality question. Okay, question number 7. So question number 7 is on functions, and it's on composite functions, and we covered composite functions with 29 days to go. We've got f of x, we've got g of x, and we want to find g f of 2. So this is a composite function. It means whenever you put 2 into this composite function, you get it's equal to 34, and we want to find the value for k. So I probably would start off by finding g f of x to begin with. So that means you're going to start with x, you're going to apply f of x, so that would give you k of x plus 3. Then you're going to apply g of x, so you're going to substitute this into here, and then expand and simplify that, and then you'll find g f of x. And then once you know that, you can substitute 2 in and find g f of 2, and then what you get would be equal to 34. You can then solve that to find k. Okay, let's look at question number 8. So question number 8 is on graphical inequalities, and we covered graphical inequalities with 60 days to go. So you just want to draw these graphs. So you want to draw the graph of x equals 2. So x equals 2 would be a vertical line passing through 2 on the x-axis. So you then want to consider which region works and so on, and you'll do that for all of them. And then you'll find a region that satisfies each of these inequalities, and you'll just label it like you're told in the question. Okay, question number 9. So question number 9 is on percentage change or percentage increase, and we covered that with 88 days to go. So remember, percentage change is change divided by original times 100. So you're going to work out the change, you're going to divide that by original, and then you're going to times by 100, and that'll give you the percentage change. And just remember to give your answer to 2 significant figures. Okay, question number 10. Okay, so our next question is question number 10, and that's transformations of graphs. And we looked at the transformations of graphs with 24 days to go. So we've got a graph here, and we've got some points on the graph, and we've been asked to sketch the graph of y equals f of x plus 1. So just think of your transformations of graphs. You may have, whenever you watch the video, written them on your cheat sheet or on your window or written them in your notes. So remember those transformations of graphs. So if you wanted a bit of a hint, or if you needed a bit of a hint for this one, well, because it's inside the brackets, it's counterintuitive and it's a translation. So you're going to translate it 1 square, rather than to the right, it's going to be to the left. So you're going to translate the graph 1 square to the left. So it's going to move all these points 1 square to the left. Okay, next, this one. So it's a minus, so you've got y equals f of minus x. So this is going to be a reflection. And because inside the brackets, it's a reflection with the y-axis as the mirror line. So you're going to reflect it with the y-axis being the mirror line. So all the points that were on the right-hand side will move to the left-hand side. And all the points that were on the left-hand side will move to the right-hand side. And any points that were on the y-axis, so for instance, this 0, 5, will stay where it is. And that's it. So that's a bit of a hint for those 2 questions. Okay, next question, question number 11. So question number 11 is circle forms, and we covered circle forms way back with 93 days to go. So we've got this circle, and we've got a tangent, we've got AB to tangent, and we've got AED is a straight line, and we've got the cyclic quadrilateral here as well. And we've been asked to find the size of angle Y, so we want to find the size of this angle. So think back to your circle forms. You may have written them on your windows with your window pens or on your cheat sheet. So it's important to know the circle forms. In terms of finding this angle, things that I'm considering to begin with is, I'm thinking, well, cyclic quadrilateral, I'm thinking if I know this angle, I can find the size of this angle. And actually, because this is a straight line, if I know this whole angle, I can find this angle here. And then another thing I'd be looking at is the fact that this is a tangent, and then we've got a triangle here as well. We've got some triangles. So is there an alternate segment theorem angle in here as well? So that might help you find the size of this one. And then if you know this one and this one, then you can find the size of angle Y. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 12. So question number 12 is on the quadratic formula. So remember, the quadratic formula is given to you, and we covered it with 35 days to go. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Now in terms of this quadratic, in terms of my hint is to make it equal to 0 first of all, then find the values for a, b and c, and then substitute them in here, and you'll find your answers to 2 decimal places. Okay, question number 13. So question number 13 is on surface area. So we've got some solids, we've got a sphere, we've got a cone, and we've got a cube. And we're told the surface area of the sphere is equal to the sum of the surface areas of the cone and the cube. So you just need to find the surface area of the cone and the surface area of the cube, add them together, then that'll be the surface area of the sphere, and then find the radius of it, find y, the radius, and that's it. And with 54 days to go, we covered surface area, and you'll see the formula that you need there. Also remember, you are given some as well at the front of the paper, so you will be given the surface area of the sphere and the curved surface area of the cone. So remember to add on the area of the circle at the bottom as well. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 14, and it's on constructions, and we've been asked to construct a perpendicular to the line DE that passes through the point F. So we want to construct the line that's perpendicular to DE and passes through F. So if you go back and watch the video with 59 days to go, that'll help you, and it'll go through and explain to you how to do that. And it's just using your compass and your pencil and constructing those lines that you need to do, and then that'll help you construct that, that perpendicular that passes through F and that's perpendicular to DE. Okay, next question. Okay, question number 15. So question number 15 is on pie charts. So here we've got a pie chart. And if you watch 80 days to go, we covered pie charts. And in this pie charts question, we've given this particular situation where there's an election between two parties that to vote for, the yellow party and the purple party. The yellow party obviously got more votes than the purple party, and they got 1,016 more votes than the purple party. And you've been asked to find the total number of votes. So in terms of approaching this question, my hint would be to consider the angles. So we've got 140 degrees and 220 degrees. And we know that they represent the number of people voting for the yellow party and the purple party. And we know the difference between them is 1,016. So I would consider the fact that the difference between them, the difference between whatever this angle is and this angle is, that number of degrees represents 1,016 people. And then once you know that, then you can figure out how many people are in the whole pie chart, and then obviously how many votes were cast in total. Okay, so that's question number 15. Question number 16. Okay, question number 16. Question number 16 is on trig graphs, and we covered that with 25 days to go. So we've been asked to draw the graph of y equals cos x, or sketch the graph of y equals cos x in between x is bigger than or equal to 0 degrees and less than or equal to 360 degrees. So in other words, from here to here. So in terms of the cos graph, if you've watched this video, you may have jotted down what it looks like. It's important to know what it looks like. So my hint for you is the cos of 0 is equal to 1. So it's going to start here, and then I want you to think what it would look like. Okay, question number 17. So question number 17 is simultaneous equations, nonlinear simultaneous equations, and we covered that with 33 days to go. So in terms of this question, what I would do is I'd make x or y the subject of the bottom one, and then just substitute that into the top one, and then you'd be able to solve that, and then find what y is or x is, and then substitute that into the other one to find what the other letter is, and that's it. Okay, question number 18. So question number 18 is on 3D Pythagoras and trigonometry, and we covered that with 81 days to go. So we've got this rectangular based pyramid. So this is a rectangular based pyramid, and we're told that apex E is directly above the center of the base, and we've been told some of the measurements, and part A we've been asked to find the height of the pyramid. So in terms of my hint for part A, we want to find the height of the pyramid. So in terms of the height of the pyramid, well, that's the perpendicular height. So that's that height there from the center of the base to the highest point E. So we want to find that height. So my hint for you would be actually to find the length of AC to begin with, because this is a rectangle, and you know that this is 6 centimeters and this is 8 centimeters. So you can find the length of AC. You can then half that. So if you find the length of AC, you can then half it to find that distance. And now this is a right angle triangle. You know the length of the, if you have a look here, this is a right angle triangle, like so. That's the right angle there. And then the 11 centimeters would be the hypotenuse. You've worked out what this distance is. If we call that M the middle, then you've got the MC, you know what that is. And then you can find the height of the pyramid, ME. And then you use Pythagoras' theorem for that. Okay, next, part B. Part B says calculate the angle between the face ABE and the base. So we've just moved that around a bit, and we've got this other right angle triangle. So we've got the face ABE, so ABE is that triangular face there, and here we've got that length there. I'm just going to call this P. So PE would be that length going up the face from the center of AB up to E, the top. And then here we've got a right angle triangle. In terms of this right angle triangle, you know the length of PM or MP, because we know AD is equal to 8, so this would be 4 centimeters. You've calculated in the previous part, in part A, we've got the height of the pyramid, so we'll know this height here, and then we can find the angle, and the angle we want is the angle between the base and that face, so the angle EPM, that's the angle we're trying to find. Okay, that's it, so that's 3D trigonometry and Pythagoras. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, question number 19 is on iteration, and we covered iteration with 23 days to go. So we've got an equation, x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5 equals 0, and we've been asked to show it can be rearranged to give this. So just rearrange this to make one of these x's the subject. In terms of this, if I'm looking at it, we've divided 5 by x squared, so I'm thinking perhaps we're making one of these x's the subject here, and rather than doing the cube root, we're dividing everything through by x squared, and then that'll leave you x here, and then hopefully that should help you. Okay, part B. Part B, we've been asked to use the iteration formula. So we've got this iteration formula. We've been told the first value to use is -4. So you're going to substitute -4 in here and then find your value for x1, get that value, substitute it in again, and then get the value for x2, get that value for x2, substitute it in here again, and then you'll find x3. Okay, and if you need a recap on iteration, remember 23 days to go. Okay, and then our next part, part C, says explain the relationship between x1, x2, x3, and that equation, the equation we started with. Well, if you think about it, they're getting closer and closer to a certain value. Just think what that value might represent. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 20. So question number 20 is the quadratic nth term, and we covered that with 36 days to go. If you want a hint, my hint would be to find the first differences, to find the second differences, and then you should be able to find A, B, and C. And think back to this video. Perhaps you've got it on your Windows if you've used the window pens, or on your cheat sheets and things like that, in terms of how to use those first differences and second differences to find A, B, and C. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 21. So question number 21, we've been asked to reflect this triangle in the line y equals minus x. So we've got this triangle, and my hint for you is just think where the mirror line would be. So if it's y equals minus x, remember it's going to have a gradient of -1, it's going to pass through 0, so it's going to go through the points 1, -1, 2, -2, and so on. So it's going to be a diagonal line looking like that, and that's the mirror line, and then you just need to reflect it. And we covered reflections with 96 days to go. Okay, next question, question number 22. And question number 22 is on adding mixed numbers or adding fractions, and we covered that with 90 days to go. So you just need to add these together. I probably would make them top-heavy fractions to begin with, get a common denominator, and then just add them up and then change it back into mixed number at the end. Is an enlargement, and we're using a negative scale factor. Now the centre of enlargement is the origin, so the centre of enlargement is the origin, and just think with a negative scale factor, the negative scale factor of enlargement is, or the scale factor of enlargement is -2. So what we're going to do is we're going to make all the points twice as far away, but in the opposite direction. So for instance, this point here is 3 to the right and 1 up, so we're going to go 6 to the left and 2 down, so 6 to the left and 2 down, and so on, and you do that for all the points. And if you need any extra help on negative scale factors for enlargements, 94 days to go, we covered that. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 24, and it's rationalising denominators, and we covered that with 46 days to go. So we want to rationalise the denominator off of this, so we want to get rid of this square root on the denominator. So we're just going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by √3, and then that will get rid of the third on the denominator, and then we can then simplify that, and that'll be your answer. Okay, question number 25. So question number 25 is on rates of change, and we covered that with 31 days to go. So our question says, calculate an estimate for the gradient of the graph whenever time is equal to 15 seconds. So get your ruler and pencil, draw a tangent at 15 seconds, and then just find the gradient of that tangent. And that will be part A. And part B says, describe fully what A represents. Well, we've got the depth of water in a container. It's been filled up with water, so it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. When you find the gradient, it's a rate of change, so it's the rate of change with the depth. So it's going to be how the depth changes every second. So whenever you have that gradient, it'll be what the depth is changing by each second. So for instance, if the answer was 7, that's not going to be 7, but if it was 7, it means every second the depth's getting deeper by 7 centimeters and so on, but it's obviously not 7. Okay, so that's going to be that's question number 25. Question number 26. Question number 26 is on algebraic proof, and we covered that with 27 days to go. So you want to prove this is a multiple of 4, so I would just expand it, simplify it, and then hopefully factorize and take 4 out as a factor. Okay, question number 27, and it's on arc length, and we covered that with 92 days to go. We've been asked to calculate the radius of this circle, so what I would do is I'd find the perimeter of the circle. So the perimeter of the circle is equal to 1 meter or 100 centimeters. I would find what the perimeter is, so we've got this is 130 degrees, so find what the angle in here would be. So obviously they add together to be 360, find the size of that angle, and then in terms of y, I would then find what the perimeter of that sector is, and then just put it equal to 100 and then solve it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 28. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 28. And it's on box plots, and we covered box plots with 77 days to go. So we've got some male rugby players, and we've got their weights, so some information about their weights, the lowest weight, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the highest weight. And there's the weights. And then with part A, we've been asked to draw a box plot for that information, so we just need to draw a box plot for that. And part B, we're now told the weights of some female rugby players, and they're recorded, and we've got the weights of those rugby players. And then we just need to draw another box plot for those. Now, in terms of this one, we're told the range and the interquartile range of the female players is the same as the male players. So we need to go back up and compare and find what their ranges are to then be able to find the heaviest weight. We need to find the interquartile range for the weights of the rugby players to then find the upper quartile and so on. Okay, let's look at our next question. So question number 29 is bearings, and it's about back bearings. So we covered that with 53 days to go. So we know the bearing of Q from P is 70 degrees, and we want to find the bearing of P from Q. So in other words, we want to find the bearing of P from Q. So in terms of that, it's quite nice we've got a diagram drawn for us. If you haven't got a diagram drawn for you in a question like this, it can be actually quite useful to draw that sketch. You can see you've got some parallel lines that are going to come in handy. So we've got our north line. We want to find the bearing of P from Q. So we want to find the angle measured clockwise from north. So we want to find the size of this angle. So consider your parallel lines, think, can you find this angle in any way? And then once you find that angle, can you find the bearing? Okay, question number 30. Question number 30, we've been asked to find the area of this triangle, and we covered the area of triangles with 52 days to go. And just remember, the area of a triangle is found by half AB sine C. A half AB sine C will give you the area of a triangle. So then you can use that to find the area of this triangle. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 31. Question number 31, it looks like it's either a sine rule or a cosine rule question, and if you watch video 51 days to go, that'll give you a hint in terms of this question. You've been asked to find the length of BC, so what I would do is I would use the fact that you've been given an angle and the length of a side opposite it to think about which rule you may be using for that, and then that should hopefully help you then find the length of BC. Okay, let's have a look at our last question, question number 32. So question number 32 is on the equation of a tangent to a circle. We covered that with 26 days to go, and we want to find the equation of this tangent. So in terms of that, if we want to find the equation of this tangent, remember the equation of a tangent is in the form y equals mx plus c. So we want to find the gradient and the y-intercept for this tangent. So my advice to you would be, consider the radius to begin with, because we know the radius and the tangent meet at 90 degrees. So if you can find the gradient of the radius, then find the negative reciprocal to find the gradient of the tangent, because remember they're perpendicular to each other, so the two gradients, this gradient and this gradient, will multiply together to be -1. Or if you know this gradient, you do the negative reciprocal to find the gradient of this line. That'll be your gradient. You then know a point, so you can call this x and y, substitute those in and find c, and then you'll be able to find the equation of that tangent. And that's it.
And that's it. So today you've been working through the practice paper. I really hope you found this video useful. So obviously with the practice paper, that part 2 of the practice paper, hopefully you found it useful going through those topics. Hopefully there'll be some topics, well, I hope it'd be fantastic if you knew all of those topics really well at this point. If you knew them all inside out and you're really confident with them, fantastic. But if there's any particular questions that have caused you a bit of difficulty, definitely go through the timestamps and find out which topic it is and which video number it is and do something about it. So for instance, if there are 2 or 3 topics that cause you difficulty, do some work on it with those 22 days to go. And that'll obviously mean that you'll be much more confident going into that GCSE Maths exam. So obviously today we've gone through the practice paper, so there's the practice paper for you to do, and there's the hints if you need hints, and tomorrow I'll be going through the full solution. So whenever it comes to going through and marking them, tomorrow then you can check and see how you can do each question and mark and see if you got them right and stuff. And that's it. So I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock for the next video. Cheers. Bye.